Alex, Leland Live, Talking Internet on 5. Let's go. Southern Skies Dermatology bringing you the show this hour. SouthernSkiesDermatology.com. I'm telling you, go get checked for skin cancer if you've never done it. If you have done it and it's been a while, just get them on your schedule. It's one of the easier doctor visits you'll ever participate in. You just kind of go in there and put the little paper gown on and sit down on the table, and they look you over with some lights and equipment, and most of the time you're going to get an all clear. I know the last time I went, I had some stuff. I was concerned about something in my hairline. I couldn't really see it, but I could feel it, and I thought it was new. Turned out nothing. You know what the little girl said? She was so nice. There was a technician in there. She goes, "It just means you're growing wiser." I thought, "You're saying I'm old, and I'm getting like old man stuff." She's like, "Yeah," and so, but it was good to get the all clear because many of you know my mom's story and her battle with melanoma, and she willfully allows me to tell some of that story sometimes to encourage people. If you've ever been through something like that and you've survived it, you just want to help others, and she's like that. So, what my mama would tell you, if there's no other reason to go, it's because my mama told you to go. Go get checked and stay ahead of it. Get the early stuff caught. They can find a melanoma on your arm and just remove it, and you're done. If you don't remove it, the next thing you know, it can travel to very sensitive organs, and you've got to fight for your life. Southern Skies has been dedicated to removing skin cancer since their very inception, and they're still at it decades later. Dr. Mario is a Mohs expert, and that's the only way you should have a removal done is with Mohs. Y'all, it is, of course, Southern Skies Dermatology. Great locations all around. SouthernSkiesDermatology.com. Okay, let me back up and do a couple of other things. Let's shove some other news headlines. And I've got something interesting to throw at you about television news. I'm interested in y'all's thoughts about it. But one of the other things that happened today, and we haven't talked much about Trump or the White House, I was listening to Andrew today, and he went live to a news conference. He caught the Trump news conference today instead of us. And just like us, he'll go and follow it because you never know when news is going to be made. And one of the things Trump did in that news conference is they got on this subject of the White House ballroom. And I think it's been a misnomer since the beginning. For security reasons, we're now finding out they were calling this whole project a ballroom, which you can sit and make the case for a facility to host international meetings, state dinners. If you've ever been anywhere near a White House event, they're kind of inside and outside. They use tents. They have to stand on the lawn. If it rains, the lawn's squishy. I know y'all don't feel sorry for these people. But when you're trying to, what Trump understands that some other presidents have not is the projection of power. He's done it his whole life. You project an image, you become that image, you show your strength, you put your strong hand forward. And he mentioned it today as he traveled over to Beijing. He went to one of those great halls, the People's Hall or whatever they call it. Stunning. You come back here to the United States, and we got this little half-ass place to do state dinners and whatnot. The other point in the ballroom's favor is Trump raised a lot of, and I don't know what the disproportion is, a lot of private capital to do this so that they can leave behind a better White House. He'll barely get to use it. If it's done on time, and that may be in doubt just because of this federal case. And by the way, most of the destruction and demolition is done, and they're already constructing the new stuff. All that's put on hold until the Supreme Court can visit this goofy activist judge that tried to intervene. By the way, the Preservation Society, or whatever they're called, that brought the suit, waited until they were in this moment to get the suit going, which is suspicious too. But what Trump revealed today was this is much more than that, and we've kind of always suspected this. Underneath the White House is really a security layer. It's been worked on for decades. Every president has dealt with some aspect of this thing being constructed. During the Obama years, you'll remember some reporters on the lawn would always reference, they'd be out on the lawn doing their daily hits, and they would reference noise in the background, construction going in the background. And a lot of people didn't know what was going on. They were going subterranean and building a fortress under the ground for the president. A lot of this came about after 9/11, when we were shocked to find out that big, giant aircraft could be turned into flying bombs and bring down massive buildings. The Capitol was targeted that day, and luckily that flight got diverted by the passengers, And no doubt the White House could be subject to this kind of kamikaze attack at any moment. So over the years, they've started fortifying the White House. It'd be difficult in a threat event to move a president, any president, Obama, Bush, all of them, Trump, all of them, to move them out of that facility somewhere else with short notice. The easy thing to do is go underground. So they've been doing it. They've been doing it for a long time, and it's the Department of Defense building the infrastructure. They did it during Biden's administration, and they're continuing it under Trump. When Trump decided to put the ballroom on the table, DOD saw that as a way to also solve a problem they were confronting, and that is modern drone warfare. We're in a different world. Drones are incredibly cheap and lethal. They can get around a lot of our detection and surveillance systems. They've been shown to be remarkably accurate and devastating in the Ukrainian and Russian theater. And we've seen them used time and time again all over the world in very sneaky ways. One of the sneakiest things that happened during the Ukraine-Russian war, if y'all remember the story, Ukraine managed to smuggle a bunch of drones into Russia in basically cargo containers. They were hidden in these containers as basically just stuff that was being trucked over the road, and they parked them strategically near some Russian air bases. Many of you will remember this story. I want to say it was about 2 years ago, maybe not even that long. And so what the Russians didn't know is they had basically hidden I was telling y'all about the yellow jacket nest that I got into. They were yellow jacket nests of drones parked very near their sensitive equipment that all the Ukrainians had to do was push a button, basically, simplification. But once they hit the go signal, those things came up out of the trucks that they were stored in. They had these tops that would open up, and they lifted right out of there, went and attacked their targets and wiped out a huge portion of Russian aircraft and the airport facility. So when you look at a dense town like Washington, it's not inconceivable. It's an open city. It's made that way so we can go visit our own capital. You can walk right up to the White House gate. You can't get as close as you used to be able to get super close, but now they keep you pushed a little bit further back. But there's a huge drone threat there. And so Trump acknowledged today, and he said so reluctantly, that our security measures in that facility should have been a secret. But because of this lawsuit, they now have to, in making arguments to the judge or to the Supreme Court in an open hearing, they have to disclose that this is really a DOD drone-proof base that they're building at the White House for all future presidents. Again, Trump will barely be protected or use any of this in his term as president. Of course, if he survives to the end of his term with all these lunatics trying to kill him, he'll barely make it and use any of it. Future presidents, and indeed this country's command and control structure, will benefit from having a fortified White House. Because when you have these events, when you have a state dinner, when you have any of these other big events, you've got a large portion of our government at these events. Cabinet members go to them, Supreme Court members go to them, members of Congress go to them. At any given moment when there's a big state dinner going on, one drone strike on a facility somewhere in D.C., like the Hilton, where one jackass, one little skinny twat jackass with a couple of guns was able to hide in the hotel and rush the correspondence dinner with just a small arms. Can you imagine a more planned attack on a private facility around town for these big gatherings? The correspondence dinner, all of these things that happen, inaugural balls. The D.C. is constantly entertaining, and it's very important that our government doesn't get wiped out, even though they may be at a highfalutin black tie ball. We don't want our government decapitated with a drone strike. So Trump today acknowledged the security aspect of the whole thing, maybe the most important part of the project to begin with. Now, you would think to yourself, you'd say, well, who's going to be against that? Well, the American left. They're against, if Trump wanted to poop gold bars in the streets for all of y'all to just go gather up for yourselves, they'd have a problem with it. If the dude decided he was for oxygen, they'd hold their breath. Um, this is where we are right now, and it's completely stupid. And they don't care about security. They're trying to bring the country down. If you cared about security, you would back the police and back a strong border and take care of some of these very dangerous things in our society. They're for chaos. They're trying to sabotage this country from within, and they'd love the opportunity to see some protected, sympathetic class of terrorists from overseas take a shot at some of these people in power. They fantasize about it, so they're not going to be reasoned with on the security aspect of this argument. But it's important, and Trump divulged more about the project that was already suspected. Many people knew that it had a military component to it, but Trump said it was designed to be drone proof, clearly bulletproof, maybe missile proof, depending on the missile, so that the seat of power in this country wouldn't be so vulnerable. Makes sense to me. And if you're going to create a giant underground space, put something nice on top of it at the same time. So we'll see how this plays out in the courts. It's clear the president, under his authority as commander in chief, can order a DOD project like this, and there is no oversight. This activist judge just made up some oversight, saying Congress had to approve this. Congress has never approved these things. This is the administrative branch, and it's none of their business, especially since most of the funding is private funding. It has nothing to do with them or their allocations. So good on Trump and his team, and I hope they're able to pull it off. Crocker Moving Services next up here on the show, crockermovingservices.com. That's Eric Crocker's company, and what a wonderful company it is. These guys are really good at getting your stuff moved from A to B, and a lot of people are doing a lot of moving right now. I saw a lot of your videos and posts over the weekend of your kids going off to college. I'll give you a pro tip. While they're gone, go ahead and rearrange their room. Go ahead and move some things so they can't move back in on you and live till they're 45. I'm just kidding. I know you'll miss them. But the truth is, there is a lot of change this time of the year as kids go back to school, and maybe you've got something going on in your life. Let Crocker help. You can try to do it yourself and pull your back out and drop it and break it, or you can do it the easy way and let the pros handle it. They've got a minimum 2-hour rate, which means if you just got a little tiny something that needs to happen, they can handle it, scale their services accordingly, knock your job out, and move on to the next one. I love the way they do that for people. It's crockermovingservices.com. Eric Crocker and the whole team over there, y'all. Tell them we said hello when you get them over to your house. crockermovingservices.com. Axiom Tax Resolution Group. That's Perry Cronin and his team. Man, these guys are good. They're real good. If you're all up against it with the IRS, they're coming after you because they want their money. All this nonsense you read about in the news, you're paying for it. Comes right out of your paycheck. And if you don't pay them what they think you owe them, they'll make your life miserable. Y'all don't just be abused by that. Our government passed laws years ago to keep this harassment from happening and to give you an option to settle. If you're willing to work with the IRS, they'll actually work with you. And the truth is, they will. But they're not going to tell you that. They're just going to keep the threat level 5 going. Let Perry help. He knows all about these programs. He can get you some sleep at night, get some of that debt reduced, legitimately reduced, even get a payback plan for some of these balances and get you settled with the IRS with things like the Fresh Start Initiative. Because every time, once you get this one done, there'll be another one in April. It just keeps coming. Let's take care of it so you don't keep getting buried by it. And trust Perry. He's a local expert that you can sit down with face to face. That is so nice to do that kind of stuff face to face. There's not a soul in this country that knows more than Perry about these services. It's Axiom Tax Resolution Group. Here's the website, 205tax.com. 205tax.com. The phone number is 205-872-1100, Axiom Tax Resolution Group. All right, let's go to Dan, then we'll go to Poe. Dan, what's up, buddy?
Hey, not much. Leland, did you see a few days ago or Trump declared that he was going to make the Strait of Hormuz an American territory?
Yeah, I think he was being sarcastic, clearly.
I don't think so. I think he was mainly testing the waters.
I think he's being sarcastic. We don't want anything to do with controlling that region. What he wants is he wants the Europeans and the Asians to step up and do it themselves. That's where their oil comes from. Because it's priced on a international market, we get affected by it, but it's more important to them than us, and he needs them to step up.
Yeah, that's what I mean by testing the waters. But I really think if he had to, he can control it. Hey, emergency communication is a big deal, and there's a lot of technologies out there with mesh radio technologies.
Yeah.
That I really think a lot of people should look into. I know I don't have a lot of time, but anyway, hey, just think about radios, guys, and mesh technology. You can have an independent communication network that doesn't work on cell phone towers. It's pretty cool.
I need to. There's a company that markets those. I need to look into it too, because I don't even know if I understand how that works. But it's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, very cool. Anyway, love you, Leland. Love you, AJ. Love you, long time.
All right, Dan. Love you, long time, Dan. We also love some Poe when Poe gets up in here. What's up, Poe?
Man, what's happening, Leland and AJ? Leland Nation, baby. What's happening?
How you doing, Poe?
Great. Hey, look, first off, man, I want to go, man. Y'all, that young lady, man, I remember when she did that, man, talking about the maps and everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I learned that you got to keep it short and sweet. That's what at my job when you write the memo, I learned when I first came on the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep that question. She should have been short and sweet, but she was trying to win some, so she was talking, and it's still funny to this day with y'all playing that. So I hope y'all get to heaven for messing with that lady.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope her life is great and she's enjoying her job as a traffic reporter somewhere in America.
Right, but two things about the maps. I wanted to say this, like me, I'm an old school cat, man. This new technology stuff, man, like what AJ was saying, like think about it. How many people actually know how to read a map? And how many people actually have, like, I got the big red Alabama map book, like when I picked up from one of the rest stop places. And I still have that book to this day. And I still look at it to this day because I like to read and I like to see stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? So if the GPS system ever breaks down and people got to get somewhere, they're going to be jacked up, Leland, because that's all we know. Myself included, that's all we know because we don't actually keep the map books with us, man. You know what I'm saying? So if it ever mess up on us, we jacked up.
That happened to me. The GPS didn't fail, but when I bought this truck that I have now, I bought it at a place over in Atlanta. And so I thought, how am I going to get over there? And I said, I can go rent a little cheap car. And there was a rental place right across from the dealership. I said, drop it off, walk over there, buy my truck, get in it, and come back home. So that was my plan for the day. So it was somewhere over in Alpharetta. And I know Atlanta pretty well, but not that well. And
Right.
so I hopped in the car that morning. It was like 4 in the morning. I get this little tiny car with a radio in it, but I didn't get a car charger, and I didn't charge my phone overnight, and so I had no GPS.
Right.
I had to pull over to a gas station and buy a map to find
Right.
this dealership and try to remember because my phone died, and we're too dependent on that stuff for sure.
Right, we are. And another thing about this terrorist thing, I hear us we talk about terrorists all the time. You know what I'm saying, with our country, the stuff that goes on, politicians, so the terrorists, they hate, whether it's domestic or international, whatever. My thing is, man, in order to get a grip on this terrorist thing, you got to make an example. Would it be too inhumane if I say that we should go taking on him? Remember when he had the guy in the electric chair and put that darn water towel in his mouth, and he just handled it? Will
You
I
talking
be too
about
inhumane?
you talking about waterboarding? I'm all for waterboarding. It
What?
doesn't hurt
I mean,
anybody. It just freaks them out.
but because man, because Leland, you got to think. We all talk about terrorism. We do at wherever we are. Politically, we talk about it. But then when it come down to it, they're gonna do what they do to us. So in order to make grills and make that is right, you got to do what you need to do. If we the U.S., we the best country in the world. I'm gonna stand by my country. We the best country in the world. I love it. But
Hallelujah.
we gonna stand by, and we gonna do it, and we gonna handle our business. So I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. If I'm too inhumane, hey, you let Poe know. But we gotta go taking on them, baby. We gotta go taking on them. You know what I'm saying? And this is not me being funny. This is not me being. This is me
Well,
going to grips with
we
reality.
were after 9/11. We were doing that at Gitmo. We were doing it around the world at these black ops sites to get information to save lives. And naturally, that got turned on the country. Some of our soldiers' lives were ruined for using those techniques, and we've backed off using them. And now look at where we are. We're being invaded. So
Yeah, and you got to think too. With us, people attack us. Okay, boom, they attack us. We get attacked. Now it's in the news. But now we got to find some other way to, hey, we got to get back at these cats, man. But
Yep.
look, man, it's your boy Poe, man. I ain't
Thanks,
trying to
Poe.
be inhumane or something like that. I'm just trying to be honest and real with y'all. Hey, I love the US of A. Your boy Poe, Legion Nation. I'm out, man.
God bless America. Allen and Company's ready for you for the holidays. Yeah, I said holidays. It's getting close, man. We're talking about it. If you want to upgrade a diamond because your boo thing's been living with you all this time and putting up with your grouchy ass, get her a bigger diamond. They'll do it for you. Custom. They'll take the old diamond and repurpose it, maybe in a nice pendant, and give her that upgrade. If it's an engagement season, this is your local family practical shop with great prices, personal service, and a master jeweler right there with Allen himself. It's Allen and Company in Vestavia near the car wash, Allen and Company. It's 5:33. Man, I don't even know where Monday went, but we just flew right on through this thing. Heat warning going out for all of West Alabama till 9 o'clock tonight. So just be aware of that. It's so hot outside; it's going to take it so long to try to cool off. These advisors are going till well past dark. So keep that in mind tonight. Stockton Mortgage, another longtime sponsor here on the show, bringing you the show tonight. This is the company that I trust to send you over to say, what can we do? Sometimes you just want to have a conversation. You don't want to get sucked into this vortex of questions, and then you're just data to a lot of these lenders. And man, if your phone's ringing off the hook with loan offers and things like that, that's because somewhere along the way your data got out there. You were targeted as a potential person that wanted to borrow, and they'll stalk you to death. If you want to do it the old school way, just call Stockton, talk to a human being on the phone. They'll get you a path, whether it's you need to clean up your credit a little bit on the front end, they'll give you a plan for that. Or are you just curious about programs and rates and possibilities, they'll spitball with you over that kind of stuff. And when you're ready to go, they'll hold your hand and get you all the way to the close as best they can. That's their business. They don't want to say no. They're not there to judge you. They're there to help and get you to the close. It works for everybody. Stockton Mortgage, they've got a website set up just for this radio station. It's savewithstockton.com, savewithstockton.com. Before I jump, I thought I saw something else I wanted to shove in here, but I got to get this TV news thing in. I had put this on my list today and did not quite get to it. This is fascinating, and maybe some of y'all want to chime in on it based on your own experience with television news. Many of you know I was a reporter for a number of years in my career. I enjoyed it. Some of the best, most fun and interesting stuff I ever did. I told somebody one time, when you're in the TV news business, especially in those days when it was more front and center, you got to go to the most interesting thing that happened in town that day. And that's just that was a pretty good career. I've learned a lot, and I'll reference those days a lot here on the show. But it's changed. Our business is changing. Everything in the media is changing right in front of us right now, and companies are trying to figure it out. The story I'm referring to, though, is a Maryland TV station, WMAR, has decided to start doing its local newscast with no news anchors. They're going to somehow AI the thing. They're going to go out and do stories, where I suppose you'll still have field reporters coming back cutting their stories. But instead of Ken and Darlene, I can't think of. I had a news anchor named Darlene at my first station, so I thought of that. Instead of Ken and Darlene bringing you the news tonight, good evening, they just don't need an anchor there. They'll just put the newscast up, and I guess some voice will read the intro, the story will play, and then you go to the next story, and then you do some commercials, and you do sports and weather, and then the water skiing squirrel at the end to make everybody go, and then you're done. So how did we get here where the venerable news anchor, I mean, there's a whole movie called Anchorman, was such a big part of our lives, the anchorman, the anchor woman in town, just some of the most trusted people in the community. Folks didn't trust the news unless they got home on time through traffic and sat down in front of that TV and did a TV dinner in that foil plate. You remember TV dinners? I'd eat a Hungry Man right now. You remember the Hungry Mans?
Mm-hmm.
In the little aluminum plate? You pop that sucker in the oven, you get it out, you pop on the news and see what's going on. Back when Walter Cronkite was the most trusted man in America and everything in between. I worked with some Birmingham legends, and I'll always cherish my time working anywhere near Scott Richards, God rest his soul, Mr. Bill, same thing, and others. Janet Hall, who I think is now retired. I see my friend Brenda LeDunn out traveling around. We had some really respectable news anchors, but it's a business that has to change. There's so much competition going on. And honestly, not as much local news. I'm trying to be fair to all my friends that still do that for a living. But nationally, the field has trashed the profession and ethical standards to the point where they've lost both audience and credibility in a time where there's tremendous competition. I read an analysis of this story today, and I think it was spot on. They talked about how TV news, in particular local news, never went away from the old model of sitting there on a plastic set full of shiny things with lights and a hairsprayed blow dried kind of makeup anchor in nice professional suits reading off a sheet of glass. And they never broke that pain of artificial presentation. They just never did. Even the reporters today, I don't watch a lot of local news, surprisingly, but I don't because I swim in the news all day. By the time it comes on at night, I've already seen it. I already know what they're going to talk about. They're not reporting anything new. We're just all repeating some of the same things that get in the news cycle nowadays. And that way of presentation has completely lost any edge or any reason for people to stop what they're doing. In the days of appointment television, you had to stop your whole day to go get in front of the TV because that was when the news came on. And I grew up in it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved being part of it back when that was still important. Everything stopped at 5, 6, and 10 here in the Central Time Zone. But that has radically changed. And so stations, just like our business, have got to evolve with it. Sadly, corporate America's first response to any kind of financial thing is to fire people. And I think what they're missing is what they're selling is people. At some point, the TV stations were selling the credibility of these anchors until they sort of ran them all off and let them retire. Now you got these kids out of school doing it, and nobody really knows who they are. It's not appointment TV anymore, and it's too plastic. We had a staff meeting last week that kind of goes along with this guy analyzing how the way local news is presented is just so stale and out of date, and they don't know what to do, how to adjust. I'll paraphrase the suggestion was that you got to put interesting, edgy people on, not just this. I don't know, get Nancy Mason or tattoos on there. What I'm saying is, we had a staff meeting. We were talking about working with our TV partners, and I'm just being raw with y'all. What some of the analysis coming from people that have gone down this road before is the disconnect between our format and my friends over in television. And there's only one person I've ever seen really be able to successfully do both, and that's Andrea Lindenberg, who helped us get this radio station started and has been a colleague of mine and AJ's, and she's our personal friend. But she's got the personality and the self-deprecation and humility and professionalism to give opinion and to fun it up over here about anything and really speak her mind, but then go sit and do what they're doing in TV news nowadays. And it's hard. My friends in television, and here's the disconnect, I believe, having done both. My friends in TV are too afraid of opinion. They're scared to death of it. Not that they don't have opinions, because they do, because we talk behind the scenes, and we used to do it in the newsroom. Everybody's got an opinion. But they're trained, their professional standards are, well, I don't talk about that. I'll just... So they don't have a way to get commentary into their newscast. And then, so they're afraid to have opinion, and they're sort of afraid of us coming on their ear because we're so opinionated. But opinion is where everything's driven nowadays. It's what drives the whole internet. One guy's versus another guy's, even though a lot of it is terrible analysis and uninformed. But it's a challenge, and I don't know that we're too far away from seeing it here in Birmingham. You just saw the affiliation shakeup of the local TV stations. I don't know where that leaves 42. I don't know how 13 is going to balance 2 networks as far as their news product. I'm sure they have a plan. Up in Huntsville, they're considering merging 2 stations that used to compete and combining news teams and both presenting on each station to save money, I guess. That eliminates competition, which also isn't good. So all I'm saying is the industry's got to figure it out, and changes are coming. Changes are still coming in our business. Don't be surprised by anything you hear. And the same thing is true for television news. It's a different world. You got to embrace what works and what is authentic and what is real, because consumers see that nowadays. You can't keep doing it the old way, because the old way is dead. I mean, it's just dead. And I lived long enough to watch it die. Mike is on a cell phone. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Leland, I'm 70 years old. I did 6 years active duty in the Navy.
Yes, sir.
I see these stories this weekend about how these people's babies are being mistreated on that carrier. You know, it was not uncommon on a destroyer. You would do a 7-month deployment. You'd come back for 5 months. You'd do it again. Submariners had it worse than that.
Yep.
That's what these people signed up for. But it seems like the press has got a hold of that. They're saying, like, they ran out of tuna fish. They ran out of the shower's not clean. It didn't. I saw Joey Jones on Fox talk. He went off on him hard about how he lived 9 months in Afghanistan eating nothing but MREs.
Yeah. I've
But
heard
I
a little
think
bit
that-
about this story. I don't know as much about it. I think most of it is media exaggeration. I guarantee it is. You got whiny. I think it's a combination of a whiny generation that found themselves deployed. And if you got a few whiners on a boat, there may be 3,000 brave people on that boat toughing it out, but 4 people that just want to go bitch and complain can get this into the national news when they're all trying to make the deployments look bad. So I don't know how
Yeah.
much you can trust it. The stories where they were just jumping off the boat into the Indian Ocean because they couldn't take it anymore. I mean, are you kidding me? Talk to the World War II guys. Talk to these submariners. There are people throughout the whole history of this country that have had endured much worse conditions than what they're dealing with
Right.
on these ships.
And they, like I said, I was there right after Vietnam, so they weren't letting people out, and a lot of people got sold a bill of sales. It wasn't what they thought it was going to be,
Yep.
but they weren't man enough to say, "Hey, I signed up for this and finish it." Like that's what I did,
Yep, I get it. Some of the look, you veterans that actually did it are the better critics than me. They've still got my respect for even signing up in the first place. But the military's got to get this in order. I mean, if it's a morale problem, somebody on the boat's got to deal with it. So,
Yeah, they already sent the commander of Central Command or whatever,
yep,
like a 3 or 4 star guy on there to meet with them and stuff.
that's it.
Control the press.
They need to send one of these hot Hollywood actresses, and I mean an actual woman, not somebody in a dude in a dress. You know how they
Hey,
used
they
to
got
send.
girls on there now, Leland.
Well, they used to send the USO out. They'd send Marilyn Monroe. Boy, that was the morale boost. She'd get up there and
Yeah.
blow them kisses, and these boys are ready to go fight everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's old school.
Yeah, I think Vietnam they were flying Playboy bunnies on helicopters.
Yeah.
They do
Now
a
it's like
show,
some
but-
trans
Now,
person.
now
coming
we're
up on
sending like
stage.
RuPaul over there.
Hi guys,
Hi.
this is what you're
Yeah,
fighting
Thanks,
for.
Mike. Yeah. Anybody cut their penises off today? I did. I mean, well, that's what we were doing the last 4
Tell me how
years.
you feeling right now.
Hey, Mike. Paul. I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead, man.
Hey, man, love the show. Hey, this is off subject, but I was watching The View the other day, and the Wendy's CEO was on there. Wendy's nuts hit your chin.
See, I was about to. I knew he was gonna get a D's nuts, and I could feel that coming. But
He must really like.
well, I knew he was lying right off the bat because he said he was watching The View, and
Yeah.
he sounded like a regular dude. And even though he's not as funny as he thinks he is, AJ, I was getting ready to have a meeting of the Man Card Club and decided whether we'd pull his card because no grown ass man's going to admit that they watch The View.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Just never admit that. I mean, even if your wife drags you into something,
Just deny.
or you see a clip online, it's just the first modicum of defense is that was not me. What happened was, you better have an excuse.
AI.
Yeah,
Just blame it on AI.
no grown ass man watches that show at all. I've seen it one time, and I forgot there was something going on where we actually watched it come on. I didn't even know how their show open worked. It was so stupid. Like they've done a lot to miss. They're why U.S. Americans can't read maps, like such as in the Iraq. Storm restoration. Let me tell y'all about my man Greg Nelson. This man, even though his sons were off playing football in Chattanooga this weekend, he stayed on top of my project. He said, "I'm sending my best guys over there. They're going to get this done." This is a true story. Okay, I'm doing an addition. Got to add on to the house. It's not a huge project, but I would think it'd take longer than it took them. So he sent them over there Friday. I'm over here doing the radio show at the station. They showed up right after lunchtime. AJ, by the time I drove home Friday night, that roof was done. They had a few minor things. They ran out of some material on one part. Then there was a complicated place where the two roof lines come together that we had to figure out the next day. Those guys worked quickly. They worked efficiently. They cleaned up. I thought we were going to be picking up shingles. They cleaned up, man. That's Greg. He's got the best installers. He perfectly matched the material from the old part of the house to the new part of the house. I mean, you can tell one's a little newer, hadn't weathered yet, but it looks wonderful. Greg did a great job. He even asked me some questions I hadn't thought about on the house, and we were able to track that down. It was everything I wanted it to be, and it'll be that way for you too if you reach out to Storm Restoration Roofing. These guys are so good. Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg Nelson. Man, this dude's almost 30 years in the business on his own. Got his whole family involved. The family name's riding on it. They know all the insurance agents and adjusters and what those requirements are if you have a claim. Write this number down. I'm giving you a minute to find something to jot it down with or prepare to memorize it because you may need it. You may need it in a hurry one time and you're trying to track it down, and it's just easier to have it somewhere where you can get to it if you wind up with storm season. We'll have another storm season coming up before you know it, and you may need a roofer. You may need this roofer. The roofer is Storm Restoration and Greg Nelson. 205 542 3531. 205 542 3531. Now that we got the roof on, the next phase to get us completely dried in so the weather won't be a problem again is to get the windows in. And for that, of course, I'm trusting Becky over at EcoView. They're so good, they don't even carry the product line that I already have on the house. I got to match it to what's already there. That was just already there when I bought it. So they tracked it down, and they're going to outsource it and order it, get it done, and then it'll be their installers to come do it for me. And I love that. It's a great company. That'll be one of the upcoming phases on the project, and it's fun to work with the clients on this show and watch how they do things. Gives me stories to tell. It's if you want to save 35% on your heating and cooling, and a lot of you literally are throwing money out the window. Sometimes I think that's where the phrase comes from. When your house is inefficient, you need to get Becky Jackson to explain how their 35% guarantee works. And that's just based on the industry average. If you've got an older home or single panel windows, the industry average is 35% of that money is just wasted on your heat in the winter, and of course on all this air conditioning we're having to use nowadays. It's ecoviewwindows.com. Let them come give you a free estimate and do your project right as well and save you that money on your power bills. ecoviewwindows.com. Back here in a minute. All right, it's 5:56. Let's button up and get on done. Blakely's Bouquets. I just love talking about them because it makes people happy, makes them smile, even when they don't feel like it. Sometimes you want to send flowers to somebody that's just dealing with some hard stuff, and we all know somebody like that. And that little card and that surprise that you're even thinking about them, praying for them, pulling for them, could be just what they need to get them through a cloudy day. Same thing for expected occasions as all those seasons are approaching us now. If it's not just an order online scenario where it's really incredible how their online system works, it can also be one of these situations where, you've got, say, a holiday arrangement that you want made custom for your table. Let them come do it or let them do it for you at your shop. You can go meet with them and get hands-on if you're a flower person. But if you're not, you just want to get some flowers sent. You don't even care what they look like. You just want to get some flowers sent. Come on, fellas. You know what I'm talking about. You just want to send the flowers. Call Blakely's or reach out to them online at that website, Blakely'sBouquets.com, Blakely'sBouquets.com. I just saw this story. This could wind up affecting, economic issues tend to be front and center. People measure that. Most people aren't economists, and they're not sitting around waiting on the GDP and checking the Dow every day. But when they go to the grocery store and the price of beef is too high, there's angst. And I just saw this story. Earlier in the show, I talked to you about the price of cattle, how the price of cows has gone up. Well, when you translate that all the way to the grocery store, right now a pound of ground beef, the national average is $7. I don't do a lot of grocery shopping, but they tell me, according to this story, that is up 22%. That's going to affect things in the midterms. If affordability and the cost of just doing basic stuff like putting gas in the car and making some Hamburger Helper, that's expensive. Hamburger Helper just came out with a new version of their product right now because people can't afford beef. It's just called Helper.
I was just about to say that.
You want to say it? Go ahead. You do that, Joe.
It's not even a glove anymore.
It's not. He's just giving you the middle finger
Right.
and saying, "Here, eat this macaroni." Pretend like there's meat in there. Get you
Look, it's
some
not even.
Spam.
They don't even have like the seasoning pack in there no more. Just dry macaroni. That's
Helper.
it.
We'll get back to the hamburger later. It's $7 a pound now. It's getting expensive, dude. One more time for Douglas Cooling and Heating. I was just chatting with Jay today. They're coming out to the house tomorrow. Again, back to the project. We're meeting around 10 o'clock. He's going to precisely map out what they're going to do. Their next step, I believe, right after while we're waiting on the windows and getting all that stuff done. Well, I'll have heating and air in there. That's outstanding. This is a great company. They were just at the house last week working on one of my existing systems. You can trust them, too. They've been around since 1972 and got the highest ratings on Google. If they can fix it, they'll fix it. They're not going to upsell you. They're just going to fix it. But if you need a replacement, they're there for you, too. I've been with them 17 years. They've done everything for me. It's calldouglas.com, CALL, calldouglas.com. We'll see y'all tomorrow at 2.
Goodbye, AJ.